It looks like Sony is getting ready for the PlayStation 5 Pro in some very meaningful ways, and I feel like this is going to be a fun video to talk about. Again, I'm pretty much excited, like the rest of you guys, when it comes to this. So, we'll see how this all ends up working out. But I think this is a pretty cool thing to see at the end of the day, because it's clear that they're actually going out and kind of doing some of these updates and improvements in a way to prepare for the next evolution, which is going to be the PlayStation 5 Pro. We've kind of been waiting a while for this stuff to come about, and now we have a little bit of a clearer picture as far as I'm concerned. And we'll see how this kind of ends up being stuff that they implement into the next console. But here we go. They're testing some cool features on PS5 to prepare for the PS5 Pro, it looks like. Sounds really cool. So as the PlayStation 5 nears its 4-year anniversary, the platform team at Sony's continue to cook up small improvements to help players get the most out of the console. The latest batch of changes that we're going to get are hyper niche, but they're still kind of cool, and you can just see they're kind of tweaking the experience for gamers. The first new feature going into early access beta is the D audio profiles for headphones and earbuds. So instead of needing to tweak the settings each time, the console will let players save custom settings based on what sounds best to them and for certain games. Maybe you want a different set of tweaks when you're playing a multiplayer shooter versus a moody horror game. So, for example, your personalized 3D audio profile may enable you to better sense the position of the characters and objects in games and worlds more clearly before making the experience more immersive. Sony's VP of Product Management wrote on the PlayStation blog. Custom remote play also being tested. This will let players authorize which friends and family members' accounts have authorizations to access their console for streaming to their phones, laptops, or PlayStation portals. So now it's tempting to see how well you can play your games on your friend's console who lives miles away. Both these new settings are available on all PS5 models. So while Sony is calling adaptive charging for DualSense controllers and other peripherals, however, it's only available for the new PS5 Slim models and rumored for the PS5 Pro. The feature will save power by only charging your connected controller when its battery is lower, rather than keeping the USB ports powered on even when the devices are fully juiced. While most users will have to wait until these features go live in an official update to try them, everyone will get to play around with them a little bit in PS5's latest firmware version, which is out, I believe, later today. So players can now ask their consoles to show them game help for a game rather than needing to find it on the home screen. They can also share links to their game sessions with QR codes. So it should be a very kind of fun situation for everybody. But yeah, nice to see that they're adding some of these things. It does feel like in some ways that some of these features are kind of testing for the PS5 Pro or whatever the case may be, because I think you have to have some things that are just kind of ready to go. Just some of the stuff makes sense anyway. Like if you are charging up your controller, hey, it's only going to charge for as long as you're able to need that to be charged. Like, I think that's like a basic kind of thing. It should be a given at this particular point. But nice to see that they're going about kind of implementing these things, and people are at any rate are pretty much saying that it's a pretty clear thing to see that we're going to be seeing the PS5 Pro announced not before too long. So to me, that's an exciting thing. I want to see finally be able to see this beast, see what it can do, instead of just hearing about it and talking about it. I think that a lot of other people are kind of feeling the same way I am about that. It's like enough talk. I felt the same way with the Xbox One X though, and the PS4 Pro, or whatever the case may be. It was nice talking about it and seeing some of that stuff, but at the same time, I wanted to actually experience it for myself. And I think that there's nothing quite like booting up your new console or whatever, and kind of experiencing that for yourself. So that to me is going to be like the most exciting thing. And seeing that the PS5 Pro is, believe it or not, I mean, considering where we are, technically it's only a few months away, and people go, okay, well, why did it take so long to announce it, or why haven't they still officially announced it? I think I've mentioned this a few times. When you announce new hardware, a lot of times it kills the old hardware, right? So like people would stop buying the older stuff in order to kind of catch up to the newer stuff, waiting for the newer stuff. In fact, listen, there's probably quite a few people who have done that anyway, right? Like there's people that I've already known, like especially the hardcore. If they were somebody that was waiting on buying a PS5, they probably will wait for the PS5 Pro, and I could definitely see why that would be the case. Like it's just, who knows how much it's going to be, but if they somehow manage to get that thing in for the $500 price point, I think it would be pretty damn impressive, to say the least. So again, I think that we are all going to have like our own kind of ideas on what's going to happen in the future, but I hope anyway that it's a situation where we get to see some great games regardless. I want to see some gameplay. I'm hoping that that Sony anyway was kind of holding off with their announcements in order to kind of showcase this console, is what I'm trying to say, because to be quite honest about it, I believe anyway that what we've been seeing, that so far this generation hasn't really been great for me. Every time I look at my catalog for this generation, I'm like, there's a couple that are really good games, but nothing that, if somebody were to ask me, hey, is it really worth going out and buying an Xbox right now or a PlayStation 5? And honestly, the few games that are good, I don't think that it is worth it. It's like there are some people that kind of wait till the end of the generation. They get maybe the most out of their consoles, or maybe they bought a PS4 or an Xbox One late last generation, and they really get a long time to use those consoles that way, because then you don't have, I wouldn't buy a PS5 or an Xbox Series console anyway unless you really wanted to play something like college football, or you know what I mean, which apparently people are doing. So we see that there's a boost in console sales for that game, and apparently the interesting thing is, it looks like Microsoft wasn't able to kind of meet that demand or whatever, because apparently they are trying to clear out stock because they have a refresh console coming later this year. They have a refresh Series S with the 1 terabyte, and of course they have the Xbox Series X all digital, the white one. So people are saying that maybe they're clearing stock out, which is would be a really bad time to do that. I remember it was like in 2020 when the pandemic hit and then the lockdown started. This was before even the Xbox Series X and PS5 were out. People were trying to get an Xbox One, and they couldn't get it because Microsoft had really already kind of shut down the production of that. They shut down the Xbox One X extremely early, Xbox One S as well. Like, you couldn't find these things anywhere, and that, I think, really gave a big boon kind of to PlayStation and what they were able to kind of sell, if you think about it. So again, we live in a very interesting point in time right now, and I think that it's going to be even more interesting to see how things kind of change in the future. We'll see how that kind of works out, but it is nice to see that Sony is working full board on the PS5 Pro. We've seen the leaks and the rumors and things that developers have already been hard at work on this, and we'll see how that kind of changes in the future. I'm excited to see how everything kind of goes out there and kind of comes together. So maybe it comes together right. I'm hoping that it's a big thing, because I want to see consoles continue to sell well. I love it. Like, look, college football helping PS5 and Xbox sell, what? That's perfect. I love seeing that. Just as long as consoles are selling good, I'm happy. I know that sounds probably divisive or whatever to people, but it's just the God's honest truth. We need consoles. If you're a console fan, we need consoles to sell well. So instead of a traditional console war, I'm kind of hoping that both do incredibly well, because that's when we've, as fans, have gotten the best of everything, right? If you think about that for a second, just honestly think about it for a second, right? When have we as gamers got the better deals, the better games, and all that stuff? It was obviously the 360, PS3, Wii era, right? Because all three of those consoles had a piece of the pie, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. You had these consoles that were doing well, you had them competing with each other, and I'll give you a perfect example real quick, right? So we had a situation where Xbox had achievements at launch. What did that do? Well, it made Sony come out with trophies, right? Xbox was doing a lot of interesting things, like Xbox Live. What did Sony do? Well, they went out and made it so if you wanted to pay for their PlayStation Plus, you could get free games, which then made Microsoft go out and add free games to games with gold. So we saw, a lot of cool things like that. Sony didn't charge to be able to watch Netflix on their platform. Microsoft did, and then Microsoft eventually had to stop. So having that competition really pays off for us as gamers. But I'm curious what you guys think. Are you guys excited for some of these little updates and things like that? I'm very curious. Let me know. I'm Crap Gamer. This has been Crap Gamer Reviews. If you'd like to, please leave a like, smash that like button, and maybe even subscribe. I'm doing daily content over here. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.